This is the Boys podcast on TV Podcast Industries, and we're talking about the Boys Presents Diabolical, BFFs. Welcome back, fellow boys and girls, to episode 6 of The Boys Presents Diabolical. It is BFFs, and I am one of your hosts, John.
I'm one of your other hosts, Derek. Time to talk about a shit episode?
Certainly, a massive, steaming pile of shit episode. Yes, indeed. I don't know whether it is BFFs is Best Friends Forever, or Best Farts Forever.
Could be.
Or Best F-ups forever. I just really don't know. Yes, this is the one that, for me, had all the hallmarks of my comedy of fart jokes, poo jokes,
you love
you
that
name
stuff.
it. All the giggle things that you would do in school and which continue with you into adulthood, I guess. And alas, it fell, dare I say it, a little sloppy.
Well, exactly. Before we get into the details of the episode, if you want to send us any feedback, you can email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. We want to hear your thoughts about the episodes. We want to hear what you think about each of the 8 episodes of the show, particularly this one, BFFs. You can also subscribe to the podcast at TV Podcast Industries or on the Boys feed, which has all of our Boys podcasts, the Invincible podcast, the podcast about Diabolical, and obviously the upcoming season 3 of The Boys, which will be coming out in June of this year as well. Let's get into a discussion a bit deeper into BFFs.
Yes, so Derek, what are some of the episode details here?
Well, the animation style this time is inspired by Saturday morning cartoon animation imports. The director of the episode was Madeleine Flores, who's been working in this type of animation since 2016. I don't know any of the shows that she's done, but I can see from the style of them that this is very much her style of animation, very much the kind of stuff that she's worked in over the last 6-7 years of producing animation.
Yeah, I mean, it's really reminiscent, isn't it, of the imports, especially from Japan or Korea, almost that young anime style in some respects.
Yeah,
and it's probably not anime. I just don't know what the term is, but it's for the younger audience. But you can even see how with those animations done in Asia for European broadcasters, like the Mysterious Cities of Gold, that it's the glint in the eye, I think. It's really iconic, I feel.
Exactly. Very, very much that kind of style. The episode was written by Awkwafina. We mentioned in last episode, another episode written by a comedian, Andy Samberg. This time, the episode written by Awkwafina. We know her probably best from her work on Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
The central character on there. Yeah, so I was really excited to see what she'd be bringing to the world of the boys here. Particularly after seeing Andy Samberg's episode, being so surprised at what he delivered for us. And then the premise here, as you say, a real comedy premise. There's fart jokes, there's going to be poo jokes going on all the way throughout the episode. A little bit of a miss here for me as well.
Yeah, I guess ultimately there was a surprise, but the surprise was unfortunately for me that it just didn't seem to come together.
Yeah.
Like a healthy gut system would do. You know, that was the main thing. In terms of the style of animation, I loved.
Yeah.
There were some good bits in it, for sure.
Absolutely.
It just seemed to me to fall flat, ultimately. Yeah. And I think it was in the writing.
Yeah, it feels like if there's nothing else that you could say that's wrong with the episode as such, other than the basic storyline. Do you want to give us your one-line synopsis as it is, I suppose, of what there is of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Farts and plops abound. The new girl Sky is bullied into buying drugs at her new school, but instead she finds herself with a vial of Compound V and shit powers.
Literally, yeah.
And I think that's the premise of it, but I don't. No, it was kind of like it was like they got to the punchline way too late.
Yeah.
Like And there was all this thing with, I mean, I didn't even really fully understand or why the deep was in there. Now, he ended off being probably the best part about it, but
I'd agree.
I don't really feel he even needed to be in there. I mean, I loved I love Skye calling forth all shits in the sewer to go after him using her powers.
Yeah.
And I loved his jokes about put it in the bag and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole school kids buying the drugs and him being shoehorned in and with the Russian driver, I didn't even understand that element. I just don't know. It in the time given, it wasn't able to properly give a consolidated or cohesive story.
Yeah.
It was like it was just trying to get to that punchline, and it could have been done right at the start, and I think that would have then set up for jokes abound and bringing deep in on the premise that, you know, raw sewage going out into the sea, which he actually references.
Yeah.
And him trying to stop that. And, you know, there's an epic battle between the two shit characters in The Boys.
Well,
you
yes,
know?
yeah.
When you think of the deep, he's the one that's forgotten about. He's the one that is being sidelined.
Yeah. And that is his reason for being in the episode, and the reason why the Compound V was in that particular drug dealer's car. He's trying to get some Compound V so he can trying to supercharge his powers so he can get back into the Seven. That's kind of what is in there. But it's almost as if they worked on the animation ahead of time and then had to add some words to explain what was going on, and they just didn't nail the story. You know, you're halfway through this episode with this anthropomorphic shit that's able to talk, who's given itself its own name, Areola, and you're halfway through the episode and you're going, so the power that she got from Compound V was that she was able to have a talking poo, like in South Park, like a character like Mr. Hanky that's been going on for 10 seasons of the show, and some people like that character, some people don't, but at least he has funny lines on occasion. And this felt like they didn't really have the concept in their mind of what they wanted to deliver with it, because it goes on, and then eventually the concept is, oh, actually, the power that's inside you is that you bring all poos in the world to life.
Exactly.
And you're going, but you wasted so much time on this friendship, the BFFs title of the episode. You wasted so much time on exploring that you had no time left to explore this actual power, or what I would have thought would be the concept for the episode.
Exactly. And it's interesting. You say anthropomorphic poo. I was thinking sentient shit.
There you go. Like it.
But it is, you're right, because the BFF is her with her squeezed out best friend Areola. Uh-huh. And of course, all that said, it's, you know, that is contrasting with the bullies. And here with the bullies, it's almost as though even that bullying relationship, like initially on the side, it's like it's more that they are friends with her. They're just not very good friends with her, and they're asking her to buy weed, because otherwise, why would she even be there? You don't know what I mean. Is I get it. I get that can happen, but it all seemed to be about Mean Girls and so on, and yet, I don't know. I just didn't feel the bully side, because it felt like she was hanging with them, and the Mean Girls wouldn't allow her to do that, or she, you know, you didn't get the sense that she was trying to prove herself, even though it was through buying the drugs. She was just asked to do that. Yes, you could tell they were horrible girls, they were mean, and they were bullying her.
Yeah,
and that was supposed to contrast with this best friend that she had pooped out.
Yeah.
But even that contrast didn't kind of work for me.
I think because you're just dropped straight into the situation, they're effectively, these girls have told her to come along, bring her phone so that they can make the call to the drug dealer, bring her card or her cash so she can pay for the drugs that they want. And then even when they go back to their home to use the drugs, they try and force her to take it when she doesn't want to. They tell her that she can't go to the toilet in the house. She has to do it in the garden. They're treating her really awfully.
Yeah, they are.
But you almost need an initial scene at the beginning of the episode of her sitting alone in the cafeteria, and the girls coming over to her and pretending that they're going to be her friends or something.
Exactly, because you then because you felt as though she was there with them.
Yeah,
like that initial opening, I thought, these are the best friends forever, and I guess that's what you're supposed to feel.
Probably supposed to feel that. Yeah.
But the problem is, it just didn't really work. I think for me,
it just didn't. Yep.
I loved the Deep in this.
Yeah, I was going to say there is one good thing that works in the episode, and that is the confrontation between the Deep and the Russian, where he has convinced a shark to hold off on eating him until he gets the information that he wants. I love that moment as the Deep walks away and goes, "You can do whatever you want." And the Russian goes, "Oh, thankfully, I thought you were going to kill me." And he goes, "I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the shark," and the shark eats him in the bloody fashion we've seen in the other episodes. It's just not enough to push the episode over the edge of being good.
Yeah, and the defeat of Deep, the confrontation in the sewers, really, really good.
Yeah.
But there's this meander of the creation of Areola, them forming the friendship, her then being taken into a Vought facility, and then being rescued, then being thrown out, then coming back. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it kind of all felt a little like going into a maze, and it shouldn't have done, because at its heart, it should have been, bulletproof toilet humor.
Well, absolutely. That didn't have the fun that you would have with the premise.
It just didn't feel fun. Like you could have had, as you say. Yeah. And that was really surprising coming from a comedian.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest.
Yeah.
So it was a real shame. But I mean, ultimately for me, I would give this 2 terror wake-up farts out of 5.
A reference to the other good moment from the episode.
Yes.
The opening moment of the episode did raise a smile.
It did.
I thought that was quite funny as an opening of the episode. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say about this episode at all. I'd say you're about right there. This just didn't work. And there's lots more episodes in this season to talk about that I'm more interested to talk about. So, unfortunately, it's a shame that this premise didn't work, because it feels like something that would connect quite well with the audience overall. So, if you have any thoughts about this episode, if this did connect with the event, this episode, one of the best of the season, we'd love to hear from you. Email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know why you enjoyed this episode. We'd love to hear it.
Yes, absolutely. Please send in your thoughts. You can also subscribe to the podcast at tvpodcastindustries.com. Thank you so much for joining us, fellow boys and girls. We'll be back with the next episode very, very shortly. Next episode being Boyd in 3D.
Ooh, looking forward to this one.
Again, thanks so much for joining us. Excellent chatting with you, as always, even on a shit episode. Bye.
Bye.